my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, I didn't call you Johnny this week, so what we're going to review, Dave, is a Patreon pick. It's our great friend and Patreon, Mike Burton, so we appreciate all his support over the years. What a great guy Mike is. But he has picked a movie, Dave. I've gone from saying he's great to his choice in movies. So we're going back to 1981. This is a Disney movie, which I didn't realise, Dave, until I started watching it, Paramount as well. But it's a dark fantasy film. And it stars Peter McNichol. This one is Dragonslayer, Dave. So I know you've probably watched this one, Dave, but have you got any recollection of the first time you've seen it?
So not really, but it is familiar. Now, I can't... Going through, there are particular scenes, and the title of it's sort of generic as well, but in 81, 82-ish, yeah, I'd totally watched this and enjoyed it probably at the time, and very much into, that fantasy sort of movie back when that was the sort of fantasy movie I liked. And then, into like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and so it just captured my imagination as a kid. And there's some other movies. We've obviously done Conan. I think that was like the third one we did, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's lots of movies like this, but I couldn't specifically remember anything other than just that feeling of, oh yeah, this is sort of familiar. And isn't that the actress from Crocodile Dundee? That was the other sort of thought I had. But it's weird we'd not done that one, actually. But yeah, so I couldn't really remember anything in terms of what was going to happen next, other than, the usual sort of tropes. And I do think, it's probably one of Mike's, childhood favourites, maybe. But... so let's see how we go in our conversation, Chris. But yeah, how about yourself? I know the answer, really.
Well, I mean, I pined to watch this one, Dave. Absolutely pined. When I say pined, never even heard of it. No, I've no idea. I recognise the main actor, Pete McNichol. He's been in other things after this, and that I've probably come across in the 80s and that. But and I love the fact that he doesn't like talking about this movie, Dave, and doesn't even put it on his CV. He's probably like,
really?
Yeah, he's probably like one of the main films he did where he's the lead, isn't he, more than anything? There's different ones he's done, and I know he was in. I know he was in as well. Just looking now properly,
Ghostbusters too.
Ghostbusters, Ally McBeal. He was in as well. I'm sure he was one of the solicitors in Ally McBeal. So obviously he's Spider-Man. There's all sorts of things he's done. But why you wouldn't? Put the Ally McBeal, right? Why you wouldn't put that on your CV? It's just what makes you into the actor that you are, isn't it? To present day. He's got a massive filmography of stuff. So it's not like this ruined his career. He's been working his whole life. He's 70 odd. But yeah, it plays to that like complete genre movie that I would never, ever have watched, Dave, ever fucking have watched. And some of it seemed quite familiar, so it must have been, it must have been on UK TV at some point.
Yeah.
Have you seen it on TV, Dave? Has it been on our...
Like I say, I couldn't tell you for certain that I've watched this, but it's so familiar to other things, other movies that I've seen around the time. But yeah, I can't remember explicitly if I've watched this one. It's just got that, familiar feel to it.
Yeah, it does. And look, I know I'd love to know Mike's backstory on it, like with it, because obviously he's a completely different generation. I think Mike's only just hit 30, hasn't he? So he's 15 years and 16 years on me and you. So it's a different generation. So how that Mike's come across this, I'd be quite intrigued. But yeah, it plays into the stuff you've played. What was it? Fucking Hawk the Slayer, whatever he's
Hawk
called.
the Slayer, what a fucking great movie.
Yeah, you said that last week, and I'm still not saying anything about that. But yeah, it just isn't my sort of genre of film at all. So there's no way I would have gone into the video shop and gone, I'm definitely getting that. It was a toss-up between Lauren Avedon and fucking Hawk the Slayer or the Dragonslayer. I would never, ever have watched this. I mean, I used to watch Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon, and that used to piss me off because they always used to be literally about to go home. And then when they did get home in that one episode, they fucking come back. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, can you just end and go back to the fairground, you tossers? It used to piss me right off that show. But I would watch it. I would watch it all the time. It used to annoy me so much, fucking Dungeons and Dragons. So this, just not for me. And even watching Game of Thrones, like we start watching it and then I just get to the point where I'm like, I've had enough. And I think I watched the first 2 series and then came in for the last series and finished it off, but it's just not my... I've watched them since. I've watched all of them since because Sam went and did a rerun. I did actually watch them, but it's just not my genre at all of that I can get into. I don't know why. And I know you take the piss game sci-fi and all this, and then most of my greatest films are sci-fi movies. But yeah, this would never, ever have been in my wheelhouse at all to watch.
Yeah, and I tell you, another face that I recognise there is a guy called John Hallam, who plays Tyrion. And I was like, where do I know him from? It's bloody Flash Gordon, which is another one that I want to bestow upon thee at some point. Because that one I definitely watched a lot as a kid, and iconic soundtrack as well. We've got to do that one. But yeah, and of course, Ian McDiarmid as well. Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, the man, the legend, Dave. Looks a bit different in this. And this would have been around, we said this last week, around Empire Strikes Back, wasn't it? Just before Return of the Jedi, I would have thought. He wasn't in. It was a different Emperor in Empire, wasn't it? I think he was definitely there. I'm not sure. Maybe in the digital touch-up, they put him back in or something. But I don't think it was Dermot in Empire Strikes Back. Oh, I thought he was. I thought he'd been in all of them. Ah, right. You've done me there, Dave, for what a Star Wars fan I am. I was drinking out of a Star Wars cup. I didn't know that. I thought he was in it. I'm just looking. Now, bear in mind, Mike is the aficionado, Dave. Oh, so I'm just looking here on his IMDb, and it says replaced Elaine Alexander / Clive Revel's original performance and voice retrospectively as the Emperor, with a recently, quote unquote, I guess, made digital appearance in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back DVD. Ah. So I think maybe if you... wow, this is sort of a latent memory, because in my mind, it's not him, but probably that's from the original, the original cut of it. But anyway... Interesting. There you go, Chris. Well, but on that bombshell, as they say, we get into our trailer. Don't know what bombshell that was, but yes.
I have been witness to something of consequence to you. To me? There's a great task needing to be done.
No doubt you've heard of our trouble at home.
A dragon, fire and stench. It is evil. Pure and simple.
You want me to do battle with that?
Behold, for I am chosen, I shall die that many may live.
Twice each year, the king selects a new victim. Chosen by lot, girls, virgins.
Your king's made a pact with a monster.
But your children were dying. Only a few. Does that sound cruel?
Blacksmith, have you ever forged a weapon?
An edge like no other on this earth.
Dragonslayer. Coming from Paramount Pictures.
Ireland is a 6th century post-Roman kingdom and is being terrorized by a 400-year-old dragon. To appease the creature, the king offers virgin girls as sacrifice, and they're selected by a lottery twice a year. An expedition led by young Valerian seeks help from the last sorcerer, Ulrich of Kraganmore. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well. You know what gets me, and I think you hit on this last week. I think you did a good description when we were talking. Is it's supposed to be like medieval? It's supposed to be obviously in real times, post-Roman times, whatever. It would be like everyone's dead grubby and dirty and that, and then you get these thespian fucking actors and actors coming on like, oh, that is terrible, and that's what gets me straight away. However, obviously, fucking the main fucking guy is American, Peter McNichol. Yeah. So what was weird was, right, that old guy who's like a Gandalf type character in here or whatever he is, and he's there, and that he comes, like you said, he went to Flash Gordon, and he just bursts onto the fucking scene, and he's saying, he goes, "Get the dagger." Now I'm thinking, if you've got this mythical dagger, right, it would be in like some sort of glass encased in gold, and the only way you can open it is with a special key, or a spell can open it. And it's in a fucking like in someone's like kid's fucking play drawer. He goes to the chest and he's fucking pulling out like pairs of fucking socks and undies and that, and he gets this little weaselly fucking dagger, and I'm like, that's a bit of an anticlimax. It's not like, fucking Arthur. He's trying to pull the sword and all that, like of a fucking big stone thing and that. It was really weird. It felt like I was watching some sort of play, like a school or even a kid's play, where you've got props and that. It didn't really hold the weight, this dagger. I'm expecting some gold or platinum fucking plated dagger that can only be wielded, like, fucking form, wouldn't you? And that, like, obviously we know Captain America, but like nobody can wield. If they do it, they are worthy of being, whatever it's called. Yeah, that as well. Like of being in charge of Asgard or whatever. Some real thing. And he literally gets this little. He almost looks like a fucking something he'd open an envelope with, doesn't it? Like a fucking one of them, like knife. And then go on, opens his chest and goes, "It won't hurt me." So I'm thinking, he's going to stab him, and it's going to be like one of them things where it won't hurt me. Like one of them, like, you can strike me down. It's talking about Star Wars, you can strike, I'll become more powerful. Yeah. And he stabs him, and it's almost as if he's believed he's more mortal. And then he just looks over and thinking, right, there's going to be some big fucking magical thing, and he's wound's going to heal. And he looks at him and goes, "Oh fuck, I'm not fucking magic." Yeah. He just collapses, and I'm like, what the fuck have I missed here? What have I done? What have I done wrong here? I wasn't on my phone. I honestly, that bit is fucking nonsense. I couldn't work out why that was in the movie and why there was no payoff. He literally just let him stab him, and then it was like, oh shit.
He turns up later, doesn't he? Spoiler alert.
I know, but at that point, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Honestly, I felt it was Monty Python levels of comedy because he's like, "Go on, stab me." And when in the Monty Python stuff, you hear the line that's obviously a voiceover later on. It's like, "Oh, no one's ever done that before," something like that. Because, like you say, I was expecting, he's gonna. The blade will just pass straight through him or something like that. But it's like those Bullshido guys that you see, the old masters who, they've got their students and they just brush off as if there's the force fucking deflecting them or something. And then they come up against an MMA fighter who just beats the living shit out of them. So I thought that it was fucking brilliant, to be honest. I was kind of like, there was 5% chance in my head where I thought, this might not work here, because obviously you've got the American, and that used to be the old tactic, didn't it? You could make a British movie, but you had to stick at least one American, and they had to be the protagonist, because that's how you got money to make the film, and that's how you got bums on seats. Like, people would actually go to watch it in America. So you had Galen there, and you're like, well, he's got to be the main guy probably. So, but I still thought it was a minimal chance so early in the movie, and you got Tyrion there. Now, as you mentioned about Game of Thrones, I mean, I'm kind of feeling like George R.R. Martin might have watched this and being kind of influenced. You've got a Tyrion, you've got Valerian. There are definitely some beats in this where I think, and there's a lot of tropes in it as well. But he's definitely watched this and taken a little bit of inspiration, I think.
100%. Even, I know I'm jumping, even the dragon reveal is fucking in Game of Thrones, Dave. There is a scene very similar. I think it's something you would use. You've seen it like Godzilla, Jurassic Park, that like where it comes from behind and like there's someone stood there looking the other way and you're like, you're fucked now. You know, one of them. But I know I've jumped too far, but I do think it made me laugh because they were talking about, I did think that. I thought, fucking Tyrion. And then, like you said, there was other references. There was beats in the movie. I was like, oh yeah, this isn't an original idea, George fucking R.R. I mean, obviously there has to be a point why he wrote all them books and an inspiration, but I'm with you, and I do think that the fact that they kept saying the lottery was taken, I mean, it's a fucking Virgin lottery, which is fucking bizarre, but they keep saying the lottery, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, it doesn't, I don't know why, but that dialogue of saying lottery doesn't really fit with that era, if that makes sense. And that's like that's the whole point of the movie. But every time they say lottery, it takes me out of the movie. I'm like, I need to put my 6 numbers on. Yeah, I'm the knife. Yeah, the Euros is on tonight. Let's do that. But yeah, I do think from a movie point of view, there's loads of things that feel very familiar. Even some of the stuff we've covered, you know, some of the sorcery stuff, they all take bits from it, don't they? What was, obviously, I know there's Halt the Slayer. What was the other one we've done, Dave, where it's set in the UK and all the actors is like, there's the guy out of Lethal Weapon 2 who's like the one who rigs fights, he's in it. And, it's one we've done. And it's
really?
like, yeah, what's his bloody name?
You know what, I'm like fucking memory and recording.
I don't even know why I've thrown that one out there, because there's no way I'm going to remember it either. But there's another one that we did, which was Sword and Sorcery, and it was the same sort of thing where it felt like I was on the set of Doctor Who or something, which I'll be on record there. I'm going to say I fucking hate Doctor Who, but there you go. Sorry, John Hammond. I know you're going to go after me now, but I fucking hate Doctor Who. That's a load of shit, that is. But sorry, Dave, if you like it as well, but just not my thing.
I actually don't. But weirdly, my daughter, who's like coming up to 17, fucking loves it. And I'm like, I don't get it. And I could understand, like, if you've got the nostalgia for it, I can understand that. But I can't understand why, Gen Zers and stuff are into it. But there you go.
Yeah, weird. He's never got me at all. I have to fucking hate it. Exterminate. Okay, mate. Like the thingy, like Jason and that, they walk at 2 miles an hour, but for some reason they can just fucking get them and take them out. And yeah, it's just nonsense. Just knock them over, the Daleks. Just kick them on the side. They're not getting up, Dave. That's all you need to do. R2-D2 style. But anyway, I'll stop there. I do think with the story, it feels familiar. I'm not a fan. It doesn't feel like anything I've not seen before. You can see the budget as well, because obviously it was an 18 million budget, which is a lot then, and it only made 14. So they were obviously hoping to capitalize on something. It never got there. I don't know if it's got like a cult following now. I presume it has, maybe with Mike coming across it somewhere. But yeah, I just feel that like some of the stuff in it and some of the acting is it's so theatrical and so English in their delivery and everything. I can't get on board with some of it. And then you've got that little fucking Bella and fucking Galen going, "Oh, stop it," like fucking American accent. When that old bloke was getting killed and he's fucking there and he's like, "No, stop it," and you can really clearly hear the American accent coming through over everyone else in that scene. Everyone else is English, and you've got this fucking American guy there with his little Leo Sayer fucking haircut, giving it some. I don't think I can really take to him as the main guy either. Because I get why, because he's supposed to be like, he's a bit of a magician and he's got few tricks up his sleeve and they don't really believe him. But yeah, going on this adventure, and it's an hour and 40, this movie is I can't say I absolutely hated it, but also I don't really buy into it because I felt a lot of the dialogue just doesn't fit with the scenes and stuff that was going on.
Yeah. Well, just while you've been talking there, and obviously I wasn't listening to you, which goes for part of the course. No, I was. But I was Googling VHS Strikes Back and Sword and Sorcery because I thought, what is this other thing that we've watched? But I think you might have had a fever dream there, Chris, because the only thing that comes back, Hawk the Slayer and Conan the Barbarian. I can't see another movie, so I think you might have dreamt it. I did send you a trailer of In the Name of the King, which was the Jason Statham one, which had Burt Reynolds. Well, it's fucking horrendous. I couldn't even make it through myself. So yeah, maybe we did it, but I just absolutely can't find it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. So Galen, or Peter McNichol, right, I struggle with him. I just see him as the Weasel in Ghostbusters 2. I think he's much better cast for that. But he is supposed to play this kind of squire, isn't he? And you've got Caitlin Clark there, who's playing Valerian. And as saying about the accents, and sure enough, they're all there with their royal pronunciation, their Shakespearean accents, despite the fact they're all like fucking peasants and stuff. But you've got her. She's obviously a really good-looking young lady. And, but no one, these grubby fucking peasants, can't notice that she's not a bloke. Like, oh, fuck off. And then you get a bit weird for Disney. She just decides, she's got this ruse. She's trying to convince everyone that she's a bloke. She's just blending in. She's trying to find the sorcerer so, they can get rid of the dragon and whatever for the king. And just decides to have a little bathe in a bit of a lake there, and old Galen gets a bit of an eyeful, doesn't he?
Well, yes, he does, Dave. And also, it's the only Disney movie where there is a full frontal of a men's genitalia when he jumps in, Dave. It's the only one. Right. Disney. Yeah, there's a bit
Disney
of a
dong.
Well, yes, Disney fucking dong. I've got to say, and we can't say it on the podcast, but Dave has pulled out this morning before the podcast one of the greatest comedy lines ever. But we can't talk about it because I'm absolutely pissing myself internally because we'll probably get cancelled, Dave. But it was fucking great. He's still tickling me. Nothing to do with this podcast, but one of the greatest things you've ever said. But we will never be able to reveal what you said. And I literally spat my drink out, proper like old school. Brilliant. I've got to say brilliant. But anyway,
it's not actually that bad. I mean, if I don't know, brilliant. Frankie Boyle said it or something, it'd be all right. But
yeah, possibly. Yeah. Anyway. You could take that chance, Dave. You know.
Yeah. You're gonna have people wondering. It's gonna be like this Pink Flamingos mystery now. It's actually not that bad, but anyway.
Brilliant. But there was a Spider-Man reference though, Dave, in this movie, because at one point the guy's going, "He's a necromancer," and my fucking ears pricked up. I think I looked at my phone. I was going, "Spider-Man," like obviously anything to do with fucking, wanky or anything. Dan immediately goes to fucking me. He goes, "It's got to be Chris Phelps." Like straight away. I love that on Discord or anything. There's always some reference to my fucking turbo shoulder or turbo dick as they call it. But yeah, as soon as he said necro, I was like, it's fucking Spider-Dan. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Then maybe this movie is going to get interesting. Are we getting a fucking like a skeleton getting fucking done over here? Let's investigate. But yeah, it's it's a weird story, and I'm glad you said that because obviously, with me, I come from the point of I'm always going to be sort of against these sort of movies, but there is something off. Oh, by the way, Dave, the movie I was thinking of, it's not even fucking sword and sorcery. Well, it is a little bit. It's Krull with the guy at Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
So,
how could I forget Krull?
Because I've sat here myself,
You're
not
right.
listening to you, going on Google, looking at what ones we've done.
Just scrolling the phone. What was that? Just going to repeat what you said.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, yeah, I love that bit that you've just talked about, Dave.
Just wait for the silence. Oh, no, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Krull. So I know it's a bit of a different sci-fi thing. But yeah, when he said that, honestly, I'm laughing to myself and I'm thinking no one's probably even going to pick up on that. But I did. It's made the film a bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Peter Nichol, he's better as a baddie, isn't he? When you get these movies that we go back on and someone who maybe when we've got older and we're now teenage and you're like, yeah, they're always a fucking baddie. They're always a baddie. And then when they play someone who isn't a baddie, it takes you out of it because it's like Brian, what's it? Is it Brian Johnson, the guy who's always a baddie in like, Brian's just sing the AC/DC. Is it Brian's the one who is the baddie in like 48 Hours and stuff like that, and some of the other ones we've done? And he's always known as a baddie, in these different movies. But then you see him in a movie where he's a sort of a goodie and you're like, there's something not right about this. What's going on? Is he going to turn bad? Because they are just better at playing a bad guy, aren't they? They're playing that horrible person. So I do think with him, it's very difficult to get on board. But you're right about the girl. And it's like no one's seen. I mean, it's not like Blackadder when you've got the blonde woman who ended up being in Patricia Farnham out of Brookside. And then she takes the hair off and fucking Lord Flash has like going ding dong, and all that sort of thing. It's like she's got a little bit of a shorter haircut. But you can clearly see, but we've seen this in these sort of movies, haven't we? Where we've had that. Even look at Game of Thrones with the Starks, Dave. Is it Arya Stark as well? The bits of that is played off. And again, watching this movie, probably, Dave, same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting to have that dynamic. But I think it's the dialogue, like, yeah, when you're really poor, if you were the king's daughter, and I'm like, we know where this is all going. So I think the story is pretty bobbing. However, I will say that I do think, and I know I'm jumping slightly, but I do think the dragon reveal still stands up. I think that is excellent. That wouldn't be out of place from someone, say, 10, 15 years ago. And that is something that has definitely been stolen in other bigger productions, because that reveal when he's there, Galen, and he's got his fucking sword and that, but the dragon then comes behind him. I think that still puts like hairs on the back of your neck. You're like, turn round, you are fucked. I did buy into that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think the dragon is probably the majority of the budget, isn't it? Because
25%, I believe.
The practical effects of it, I agree, it does still stand up. And you talk about the Doctor Who stuff. I mean, some of it's just ridiculous, isn't it? But you can tell they've spent quite a lot of money on that. And they would have had different dragons as well, even, at the end when they're killing it off. And you have the little puppet dragons as well.
Yeah.
When they're eating the princess. I mean, we sort of skipped over the whole ruse with the lottery, and the king obviously keeps his daughter out of there, but she's so noble and she's frankly shocked. She thinks that she should be in the lottery as well. I kind of feel like if you knew there was a biannual fucking lottery for virgins, right, wouldn't you be off for a cheeky one behind the bike sheds? Just like, come on, this is, being eaten by a dragon, or just have a quickie. I just a bit of a flaw in the whole plan there. But yeah, I think when the princess, because it goes on a bit, doesn't it? And then, people are pissed off at Galen because they think, he's just going to piss off the dragon, and the king just wants to keep sacrificing the virgins. And despite the fact that the dragon is like 400 years old, the king's plan is to basically wait him out to outlive the dragon.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
And then when the princess, though, she gets taken down, and you've got the little kind of baby dragons there eating her and like chewing her foot off and stuff. I was like, fucking hell, it's a bit gruesome for Disney.
Yeah, it is a bit gruesome. And that's what I think's a bit strange, because you've got that sort of slapsticky. There's a few little bits in around Galen. There's a few, like the old bloke when he takes his clothes off him and all. Just a few little bits that are like a bit light-hearted, and then you do get like the other end of it as well. And I do think the dragon stuff that you said about the thought of that, but I do think the dragon, when it does go at Galen with the fire, like that's still pretty good. That's like, he's got the shield and he's holding it, and he's like, there's no way this guy can take the dragon. And I do think that, I'm taking the mick out of it. It will never be a film I'll ever watch ever again. That's a shock to fucking nobody. But I do think that there is some features in this which I can completely, as you said, and we've both said, that have completely been ripped off, whether it's the concepts of the story. It may not be an original story, and it's the sort of thing when people do these sword and sorcery things, you stick to a DNA, like an action movie of the time. It's the same. You've got to hit the same beats to engage the audience. Maybe
like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where you have to explain his accent.
yeah. His twin brother is. I lived in Belgium. All right, okay, no problem. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was. But you're American.
No, I went to French Canada.
Yeah, Canada. I was in the Foreign Legion. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well done. Yeah. No problem. That's explains it in every episode, Dolph. Well done. Excellent. But even Frank Duke's Dave, an American fucking soldier, and he's like, I visited Paris once, so I have this accent. I never left me. I went.
You're going to call the cops?
Fucking love Van Damme. He's class. But yeah, it is like really obvious that this has been an inspiration for stuff after it. And I think in that respect, whatever I think of the movie, and I don't particularly think it's a great movie, I have got that sort of hindsight to go, you know what, there is something there that it's sort of innovated, whether inadvertently or not, because it's like us, isn't it? We watch a movie, we've brought movies to this podcast, as have all our great listeners, that our patrons and that, and you're like, I never would have watched, I've never seen this, and some of them have been absolute gems, but they're also stuff that sort of put a stamp on you, and you can watch a movie that I can watch a movie that you fucking hate when we've covered it, and you go, and as I have, but at a certain moment in time, it's almost like made you who you are, and it's a movie you can go back and keep watching because it feels comfortable. You know what's going to happen. You can go, yeah, it's not the greatest movie, but I love it. As in, No Retreat, No Surrender 3. I mean, that obviously is one of the greatest movies ever. However, other people may not think that. But, we know that it's not great acting, stunts, anything. But there's something about it where I can just keep watching it because it's fucking stupid. But I feel really comfortable. And it takes me back to being 12, 13 years old in the video shop, renting it over and over again. Yeah. And the third one, for some reason, the first and second were always available, but the third one with the same cover, because it looks like a video game cover, and it's probably why I liked it so much, because it just, that cover of them both together with the fists, and it was always so elusive to get No Surrender 3 in the video shop for some reason. So, like, to be able to get it and rent it, I fucking loved it. I remember Gandhi used to say to me, I'm sure we've watched this. No, I've definitely not watched this one. Yeah, you have. Love it.
It's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, to talk about the dragon for a little bit longer, I do think that is hands down the best thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to be critical a little bit, you can see there's quite a few times when the light, you can see it's a bit plasticky. Yes. So if they were to redo it now, they'd have it, much more of a scale-like texture. But I think that is a real nitpick for a film made in 1981. But yeah, that is definitely the best bit of the movie. The other bits, though, I mean, it's so fucking slow. It really drags on. And I like this kind of movie, and I didn't hate it, but it really drags on. And the other thing that actually did really jar with me was the love story, because you've got Valerian there, and then once she's outed as a woman, that's it. Then she's like completely flipped, and it's like she doesn't say to Galen, "Oh, let's keep up the ruse, don't tell anyone." She's like, completely out as a woman then, and then she's in the lottery, but she's obviously got the hots for Galen out of fucking nowhere. There's literally no chemistry with them whatsoever, and she's like, "Oh, you're in love, aren't you? With the princess? Oh no." And he's like, "Oh no, I am in love, but with you," kind of thing. And I'm like, fucking hell. Sometimes I can't necessarily see it on the screen, when people say, they don't have chemistry. But these two have absolutely nothing. And I just feel like that love story was just so crowbarred in there. I really jarred with me, that did.
Well, I think you're right. And I think one of the worst bits of chemistry and worst bit of casting ever for me as a couple where, like, the girl falls with the guy, he's always going to be Karate Kid. Daniel LaRusso and fucking Elizabeth Shue. Ali, she is stunning. She was one of my crushes through the 80s, even like in, the boys.
We've not done Cocktail as well.
Well, I've got that on my list. I love Cocktail. I love that. But honestly, Dave, absolutely, she was always one of my crushes as a kid. Like I say, then the boys, she's stunning in that as well. But it's like she was, and you'd see fucking going from Johnny, and I know Johnny depicted as the bad guy. Let's be honest, he's the best thing about fucking
Legend.
Cobra Kai. He is. I'm sorry. You know what? I've gone off on a tangent here, but I am struggling to finish Cobra Kai. I think this new season has been fucking shit.
I am.
We watched another episode the other day, and I'm not even at the halfway point, and I know it's been re-released again, but everyone, it is literally, we said it when we reviewed it, it's literally like the wrestling. Everyone becomes in as a baddie. It's like Fast and Furious. Basically, it's the Fast and Furious. And they all end up fucking part of Cobra Kai, and I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I found the acting and storyline in this last series has been fucking bobbins, and I will not finish. I am going to struggle. It'll be one of the ones over Christmas because Sam will force me to watch it, and I'm like, I'm not. His fucking daughter's always bugged me anyway. Fucking LaRusso's daughter, she can't fucking have a paper bag. There's no fucking even. She's as bad as the fucking.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, the fucking worst martial artist ever. I mean, come on. I mean, fuck me, it is terrible. I know he got a star. Thingy for me, William Zabka's the one for me who should be getting all the credit. He's fucking brilliant as Johnny. He's such a good character. I love his character. And I sort of really, at the end of it, I want him to kick the shit out of Daniel LaRusso, really. I want him to lever him. I want him to fucking do a crane kick, sweep his leg, fuck him off, sort that fucking...
Put his knee out.
Put his knee out, sort that fucking Irish fucking jig he wears every episode. That fucking hairpiece that fucking Ralph Macchio's wears, he's fucking terrible. He's 60 years old. He looks a disgrace that day.
He's just like he's got the Hollywood Hall of Fame, hasn't he?
Hall of Fame, yeah. I can't be doing with it.
I agree. I just think the thing about the first few seasons of Cobra Kai for me were just, it was about Johnny as a central character, and it was this guy plucked out of the 80s and just dropped into modern times, and you sort of him just dealing with life and dealing with the modern absurdities and stuff, and still listening to his Iron Eagle soundtrack and stuff like that. I just think
I loved it.
That was the best bit of Cobra Kai for me. And I think as they're trying to appeal to the younger generation, then they're introducing the kids a bit more. But like you say, it gets a bit ridiculous, gets a bit like Fast and Furious, where the people come in as a baddie or they come in as a goodie and then they flip to become a heel. And it's like, oh, yeah. I've struggled as well. I am going to finish it, but yeah, it has tailed right off.
Oh, it's awful. And I think as well, it's like what you said, that Bullshido, Steven Seagal shit. If anybody in real life, because when we were kids, we all thought that by doing karate, you would kick the shit out of anyone, didn't we? We've talked about this. Black belt. Fucking black belt. All right, okay. Well, if you're getting close enough and he doesn't kick you, he ain't a fucking black belt, is he? He might have the twitching and the use of moving, body movements and that. If you can fight or someone can box, you're pretty fucked, really. And that's what it is with that. Well, what's the fucking Cobra Kai? Fucking, doing fucking Mr. Miyagi stuff, the old what? They're doing this training stuff, and I'm like, and then you see the other team come, and they're just doing proper fighting, and then it's almost as if MMA doesn't exist. And then you see Daniel taking out 4 guys, don't you? Johnny's fighting like a real, like, all right, he's using some of the martial arts, but when he fights people on the street or there's some, and he has to like deal with some thugs, it looks believable, doesn't it? Like, it looks like you could get away with that in a fight. We know it's a little bit like this guy comes to him first, and when he's on the floor, the other guy comes to him. Like that like the old school Van Damme stuff and everything. They attack you in singles instead of 5 of them just jumping and kicking the shit out of you. And they always do that in films. But when you see fucking, Miyagi-Do, fucking bullshit, and they're there with the fucking, it's fucking Mr. Miyagi's place with all the wood, and they're all doing like the old, and I'm like, the katas and that, and I love all that. I love the discipline behind it, because I know you do it. I'm not being disrespectful, I've done it myself, but when you watch it on the screen, it's like, it looks fucking rubbish, and they will get absolutely hammered. I'd love to an episode where they go, come on then, let's go. And some guy just fucking knocks one of them out straight away. And it's like, yeah, Miyagi-Do fucking what? You know what I mean? You don't know. It just
do that MMA thing. Got him on the floor, fucking hammer him with an elbow or something.
Yeah. Daniel's not showing me how to get out of this one. There was no spinning of the plates. What do I do?
Wax off this fucker.
I'm doing... Why am I doing wishy-washy fucking defence and your elbows are still cutting my fucking forehead open? I don't fucking know. Bang, there you go. Honestly, that's what really is frustrating me watching it. I think now they should have done it without Daniel LaRusso. It should have been Johnny. If he's going up against Kreese, no problem. Daniel could have come in now and again as like a guest spot, maybe just to link everything together. But I think having him in and him becoming as central as Johnny, more than Johnny really now, has really ruined the franchise. And I know he's got saying it, and there's a new Karate Kid film coming out with Jackie Chan. He's supposed to be based 3 years after Cobra Kai or whatever it is. But I'm going to watch that and probably be laughing at it going, this is fucking rubbish, because Jackie Chan's class. But as soon as Ralph Macchio starts trying to do some crane kick shit, I'm like this, I'm out. But anyway, I've completely derailed this podcast, babe.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to get away from Dragonslayer here.
Let's slag off Ralph Macchio and his shit martial arts. Go on.
But I actually don't know there's that much to say left. I mean, he kills the dragon in the end. He's obviously got the spear as well. Again, you talk about unrealistic fighting. You got a guy with a sword and you got him with a spear, and just the way the choreography was not great. And then Tyrion thinks it's a great plan to just hide behind a tree stump.
Yeah.
Obviously gets skewered that way, and kills the dragon, gets the girl, and everyone's happy. And then loads of sequels in the bag. I bet the filmmakers were thinking, guess again. So yeah, any final thoughts on before we go into our final review?
Well, I do think, Dave, it was the bit where he summoned the horse and the amulet was working, and I was like, "Oh no, this is fucking Greece. This is Danny Zuko and fucking Sandy going off in the car." I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, the white horse appeared because he had the amulet. No, I'm with you. I think
it's a good callback, actually. Yeah, you're right.
It is. It's just like. Yeah, these days are out. That's fucking Happy Days. That's not even fucking Greece, is it? But I'm on form today, Dave. Absolutely on form today. But no, I really struggled with like a lot of this, because I do think that it could have been better. Even if I'm not a fan of the genre, it could have been so much better than what it was. And I just think he's unconvincing. And yeah, I was like, nah, you're all right. I'm out. It's fucking rubbish. And a lot of money spent on the dragon. And you can see that, and I'll give him full credit, because that means that for the 18 million budget, 4.5 million was spent on the dragon, and it shows, because that's probably the best bit of the movie, let's be honest. But anyway, we're not in the review stage, Dave, so no, I've not got any more, so shall we get into the scores?
Let's go.
don't know whether Mike was trying to stitch us up, Dave, or he genuinely thought he likes the movie. I would love, honestly, I want Mike's thoughts. I'll message him and everything. I'll find that out. We'll have to talk about it maybe on the next episode, because it's really intriguing how Mike has come across this. But yeah, I think this is rubbish. It's absolutely terrible. There's definitely bits taken in Game of Thrones, or like I say, maybe I'm just giving it too much credit and it is just part of a sword and sorcery dragon movie or TV show. This is what you've got to do in a roundabout way to make it work. I don't know. Or that's how the books are written or whatever. I'm never going to fucking research it any further than the end of this podcast, Dave. I don't really care. But I do love the fact that people have different tastes in movies. Like you like this sort of stuff as well. It's awful. Now, I was going to put it in Elm Street, but as we're talking, I'm not putting it in Elm Street, Dave. It's going to Alderaan. It's awful. Never to be seen again. I give it credit for some of the things it's done, but I can't look past it. It is a slow pile of garbage. And honestly, when he rode off on that bike at the end, I was like, how long is fucking left? This has to be the end. So, yeah, Alderaan, never to be seen again. See you later. Don't let the fucking door hit you on the back of the head there, Gaiden.
Well, before I give my wrap-up thoughts, Chris, you say that you'd like to know what Mike thought of it.
You have. You know what? On my life, I swear to, and you can vouch for this, Dave. You have. I did not know this was happening. This wasn't one of them podcast things where we've told each other you got play up to it, Chris, in the episode. We don't do that, do we? We never do that. That's just us. We do it. I did not know. Oh no, Mike's going to tell me some heartwarming story now, and I'm going to act like a right tosser now. This is before you've even given your score, so it must be bad, right? Come on, Dave.
So, of course, Mike from Genuine Chit Chat and Star Wars Comics in Canon. This is his wrap-up of Dragonslayer.
Hello there to Chris and Dave and to all the incredible listeners of the VHS Strikes Back. This is Mike here, the person who suggested Dragonslayer for Dave and Chris's episode this week. Now, I'm hoping that Dave did tell Chris that Dragonslayer is one of my favourite films. It was a childhood connection for me and things. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolute rubbish, because I feel like this film, to quote Chris, is absolutely bobbins. So my brief thoughts on this movie are that although it's like an hour 50 long, it feels like it's about 3 hours long. The dialogue is quite clunky. The plot is, I guess it kind of makes sense, but it wasn't gripping in any way, shape or form. For me, this just represents all the things I don't like about the fantasy genre. I generally quite like fantasy movies and fantasy series. I know fantasy is Chris's absolute favourite genre above all else. I know that for empirical fact, because I've been going back and listening to the back catalogue of VHS Strikes Back, and I've been really, really enjoying hearing Chris just love things like Willow and other fantasy stuff so much. So I thought, you know what? Because he's such a big fan, let's get him on board with one of the greatest fantasy films ever. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. It's really long. It's really bloated. The dragon does kind of look cool when it's like not flying, but the CGI doesn't age. The acting isn't great. And of the films we did for Disney discussions for this, it was really such a slog. Like, we got halfway through and we were like, is this still going? Is this only halfway? I don't think I've watched a film in a very long time that has felt slower than Dragonslayer. I'm sure a lot of the VHS listeners are going to have fond memories of Dragonslayer, and that is completely fine if people enjoy that. I would probably think it's more due to nostalgia than actual quality of the movie, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So yeah, not a favourite of mine. I never watched it as a kid. The first time I watched it was in 2022 for Disney discussions, and I didn't enjoy it. So I won't be watching it again. And I just thought it would be hilarious to listen to Chris try and kind of maybe say some nice things about this film in a way to try and not hurt my feelings. And it's all just a big ploy, because I do not enjoy this film. In fact, the reason that I'm not on the show is actually just because I didn't want to rewatch Dragonslayer again. I have absolutely zero desire to ever watch that film again, even if it means missing out on a guest appearance on the incredible VHS Strikes Back. So that's why I'm not on the show. Hopefully I put one over on Chris. I'm very much looking forward to hearing his thoughts and then his reaction to this recording. But if anyone listening does want to hear my full thoughts on Dragonslayer, make sure you tune into Disney Discussions. That's a show that myself, Rhea of the Femon Collective, Spider Dan the Secret Balls, and my wife Megan, we do normally 4 to 6 episodes a year. It's normally on the feeds of Genuine Chit Chat, Spider Dan the Secret Balls, and the Femon Collective. I've given Dave a link, so he should be putting that in the description, so you'll be able to find the playlist with all the Disney Discussions episodes. We've done Tron, we've done direct-to-video sequels, we've done Cartoon Crushes, and Dragonslayer was in a Spider-Dan Chosen episode about the weirder side of Disney films that Disney don't want you to see. So if you want to check that out, we also did Watcher of the Woods on that podcast, Dragonslayer, and also Something Wicked This Way Comes. So please tune into that if you desire. But thanks again to Chris and Dave, and if you want to hear more from Dave and myself, then please tune into Clone Wars Conversations, which myself, Dave, and Math, fellow VHS supporter, we all do that on a monthly basis, and we're coming up to Clone Wars Christmas, so in December of 2024, I'm going to be releasing an episode of Clone Wars Conversations every week on the feed of Genuine Chit Chat, and there's also viewable on YouTube, so if you want even more content from Dave, if VHS Strikes Back isn't enough, and also CD Reality Cast isn't your jam, or you're already caught up with that, then you can tune into Genuine Chit Chat, because at least once a month, you'll also hear from Dave, and he and I, as well as Chris, have done plenty of collaborations in the past, so make sure you tune into those if you want more from these guys. But just thank you again, Chris and Dave, for having me on. I can't wait to hear this, and of course, thank you to your wonderful listeners who make all this possible. And next time I submit a film, maybe it'll be a film that I consider to be good. We'll see.
So what do you say to that, Chris?
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say to Mike, fuck you. Because I have been absolutely done, and by Spider-Dan. I'm waiting for Mike to tell me something. He's just done me. He said exactly what I said. It's some wholesome fucking thing, and then done me. This, Mike, and you know what this also proves, Dave, that I've not listened to Mike's fucking episode of podcast, and then I would have known that, because he obviously realised I hadn't. What a load of shit. Mike, I've got to applaud you. After all the help I give you and Megan in Vegas, all the freebies you've got, you've done this to me. You've fucking done this to me. This movie's an abomination. And it's the fact that he said Chris is trying to be nice because he might think it's a memory. I applaud you, Mike. You have done me completely. I'm clapping. You have done me there, my friend. But if you want any more help to go to Vegas, you can suck my balls. That's all I'm going to say. Right, Dave, what's your score? I'm not speaking to anybody now. That's it. Done.
I mean, even I struggle with this movie, and I do quite like the genre, but it's just so... it's so dreary and drab, and I think the Dragon is worth a watch. So if you've got all this way and you're thinking, should I watch this? I wouldn't bother, but maybe just check out the Dragon scenes on YouTube. I'm sure they're there. But yeah, this is an Elm Street for me. It's literally the special effects that keep it out of Alderaan. There's nothing else positive about this at all. I think, again, maybe I'd have to watch some of the other things like Excalibur, from around this time in the early 80s when there's lots of movies like this. But, to see, does it hold up with my memory? But yeah, this one's pretty bad. So yeah, Elm Street for me. Well,
Dave, you're part of this as well. And thank you for that, because you knew about this, you absolute tosser. So, anyway, I'm hoping that next week's pick is another Patreon pick. He's a good friend of mine who I met in Vegas, Mr. Matt Bates, the legend that is. And he's picked a movie, Dave. Now, I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it. I don't know anything about it. I do know that it's from the 90s. It's got dubbing on it, which Matt laughed and said to me when I was asking what was bit. He's like, I know you don't like them, Chris. He said, but it's one of my favourites. So I was like, I know, it's fine. So, Dave, we're going back to 1998, and this movie's called Run, Lola, Run. So, as you would say, let's get into the trailer.
So, I remember seeing the trailer and just thinking, there is nothing about this that I want to watch.
Until Matt came along. We possibly could have done with one with mute and a voiceover, Dave, couldn't we, really? Oh, it's got that Blade feel about it, hasn't it?
Oh, it's late 90s, early 2000s. Everything's that techno matrix sort of sound, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think I've seen... you know what? The guy looks familiar. And obviously she does as well. There's a girl.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, I'm thinking whether... There's a computer game called Mirror's Edge. There's some reference to that. It's like a first-person free-running game. About 10 years ago. sure there's a reference to this now that game was made. Never seen it. So Run Lola Run. Yeah, German, the most promising German filmmaker since Fassbinder. Don't even know what that is, but yeah, that'd be interesting, Matt.
I mean, I'm remembering why I see it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see that. But you know, that's one of the joys, isn't it? You know, someone else picks it, and so we have to sort of sit down and watch it. So, yeah, let's see. It might surprise me.
No, it might do, man. And honestly, Mike, absolutely bravo, mate. You're going to have me all day laughing at that because I've been done there completely. And the fact that he said that, Chris is thinking, and I said it, didn't I? I didn't know. That's brilliant. And that's the good thing about the Patreon and everyone, you know, who listens in. You all get to know each other's personalities. So Mike's got a very good handle on myself, Dave. So I do thank you, Mike. That's very good. I'm going to listen back to this one. That's like my switcheroo I did that time, but anyway, if you want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at vhsstrikesback. If you do want to support us like Mike does and stitches me up, please go over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honour and a big thank you to Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Little Green, Herbs, Jacks, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. Every single one of you, amazing. And everyone who supported myself and Dave, past and present. That was a great little plot twist there, Dave. So I like that. So what have you got for us, Dave? And don't say it's some fucking Chris Phelps sword and sorcery song, but what are you playing us out with today?
Well, you've asked me not to say it.
I know you very well as well, don't I, Mr. Horrocks there? Yeah.
So, Chris, I'm sure I must have told you at some point, I played this bikers gig at one point and got to stay there. So it's like a weekend festival. And so obviously you do the gig, but you're seeing other bands there as well. And what I was thinking was I wanted this medieval type feel, but very much imagine, especially like a summer festival with beer fucking flying everywhere and just everyone jumping up and down and having a great time. So if you can imagine that, this is Dragonslayer, Take the Dragon Down.
With this master gone, needs to step up free. furnished by Father India.
You imagine yourself at the bikers gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
The princess tried to bribe him, sacrifice on a platter of disgrace. But Galen says I'll fight him, and he stepped up to stare that beast in the face. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, fight the fire, save the town. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, take the dragon down, down, down. See fire and smoke, the dragon is roaring, swiftly down fast, thoughts are soaring. But cowards squeak, he makes his play. The spear finds its mark, seize the day. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, fight the fire, save the town. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, take the dragon down, down, down. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, fight the fire, save the town. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, take the dragon down, down, down. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, take the dragon down, down, down. Dragonslayer, oh Dragonslayer, take the dragon down, down, down.
Dave, that was better than the film.
You just imagine being in a fucking summer festival though and just bouncing up and down to that chorus. I had a lot of fun putting that one together.
Very good, very good. No, I love that today, mate. Mike, bravo again. Bravo.
It was a good stitch up. I have been dying to tell you because this has been in the making for a while, even when Mike was having to think about, oh, what should I pick? What should I pick? And he was like, pick this one, but don't tell Chris until you announce it. That was last week, obviously. And then I had the little voicemail in my pocket there. But Chris, I've had a lot of fun today. I'm going to be chuckling for the rest of the day. But thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's annoying.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off. Get to the chopper! One ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you stupid. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.